All right, so here's what is going on. I sat here for a minute trying to see if I would try to just outright ignore this or not. But being me, I always have to just be honest and be truthful here because I don't run away from my issues and my problems. I did not write down the name of the person who requested this film. I am so fucking sorry, but I didn't. It will be in the description below. My internet doesn't work out here, so if I don't record this now, I watched this movie a week ago. Okay, I watched this movie a week ago, but then I went on vacation and I did all this shit, and so this movie is nowhere near fresh in my mind. But I thought I had written the name down. I'm so bummed at myself for not having wrote that name down. But I apologize. Okay? I will write it down below. So, whoever that is, thank you. Really, truly thank you for your patron donation. I know you want to hear your name on here, and for me to give you a personal thank you. This is me giving you a personal thank you. I just didn't want to have to do this later. I wanted you to get this video as soon as possible, and here we are. Okay, so the writer of this movie went on to write Ant-Man, also Tintin as well, which was kind of cool to see that he's had so much success. This is a film I saw once a while back, and I wasn't huge on it. And I'm going to tell you why I wasn't huge on it, and I'm going to tell you why I'm not huge on a lot of movies that a lot of people love. British humor. That's what it really comes down to. It just never lands for me. I mean, okay, I shouldn't say the word never, because that's usually not right. But for the most part, there's something about British humor. Now, it might be the delivery. It might be the social relevance. It might be the accent that I can't understand. It might be my stupidity. Maybe they're too smart for me. I don't know what the hell it is. But for some reason, whether it's a fucking Monty Python skit or if it's something on the BBC that people recommend to me and I check it out or whatever, British humor almost never lands for me. And I know people who just swear by it and they're just like, oh my God, I just think it's the smartest and the funniest and the coolest thing ever. It just doesn't. So here we go again. I went back and rewatched this. And while I did enjoy the movie as a monster film, I can admit that I did not laugh. I didn't find myself laughing once. It's a comedy. It's a horror comedy. More so on the comedy side of things. But just so you know, I don't know. If in the future you want to recommend a movie to me and it's British humor, I don't know if that's the pick. So I watched this on Crackle, and let me tell you something. Crackle has so many ads, it's fucking crazy. Now, I've watched stuff on Vudu for free, and I've watched stuff on other things for free, like Tubi, but this by far had the most ads. It was insane. I was just sitting there like, oh my God, we're going to do another ad? Are we seriously going to do another ad? Come on, Crackle. So this stars FN2187, a.k.a. Finn, a.k.a. John Boyega. Of course, I'm going to know him from Star Wars. I think that's where pretty much everyone's going to fucking know him from. I mean, how much else has he done besides like this and Pacific Rim and the Star Wars movies? But anyway, so that's our main guy here. His name in the film is Moses. And he's the leader of a street gang, and this street gang attacks and mugs a young girl in the opening, who then later in the film becomes an ally. And I'm glad they never really went the love interest route. That I was pleasantly surprised to see. I think they could have went that direction. I guess they kind of maybe hinting, leaning. I don't know. I don't think so. But if that's more apparent to others than me, then that's fine. I mean, as I said, this is a week ago. I've watched a lot of movies and a lot of TV shows since I've watched this, but I don't remember there being much. There's some looks exchanged, but I feel like that's more of just in acceptance of who he is and who she is, and this and that, and maybe just some guilt and being masked by masculinity. He puts the mask in masculinity. So I don't know. But yeah, definitely it's that interesting balance that you have to strike with that kind of opening, because you're making your protagonist antagonizing. So they have antagonistic behavior in the opening, which would usually suggest them being the villainous characters, and then kind of flipping that on its head and making that our anti-heroes, if you will, which, as I said, that can be a hard balance to strike, but I think they do a good job of that. And yes, I just said do. That's why I don't get British humor, because I'm still beholden to like third grade humor and thinking do jokes are worth going back and spending now probably 30 seconds to drive home. Anyway, so we've got the girl in this who plays that character I was just referencing here, is the young girl that got mugged. That is the new Doctor from Doctor Who, which I know fucking nothing about. So shout out to David Zavala, the biggest Doctor Who fan I'm aware of. Now, there is not a reason I don't watch it outside of that. I don't have fucking time to get into any other nerdy shit. I'm sure I would enjoy it. I have watched some episodes of some of the newer stuff, so I do know a teeny tiny bit about it. Just a little bittiest little thing. It's called a TARDIS, right? That's the freaking phone booth that's like Harry Potter size in tent thing inside, where it's like big and it travels through time. I don't know shit about it. I've watched a couple episodes. I did find it intriguing. I think that if you grew up on it and there's like a new Doctor every X amount of years, that would be cool, like a James Bond or something. Yeah, I mean, but as I said, I could get into every fucking crazy science fiction show out there, from Farscape to freaking Babylon 5 and all the Star Trek shows, which I've watched a few of them, but not all of them. And then so on and so forth, from Lex to, there's so many, it's crazy, and they all look really cool to me. I can't. I don't have the time. Maybe one day, maybe my kids and I will get into these things and we'll watch more. This also has Nick Frost in it, from the Simon Pegg films like Shaun of the Dead, At World's End, or The World's End. At World's End is the Pirates of the Caribbean subtitle for part 3. This is The World's End, and of course Hot Fuzz as well. The what is that? I've only seen Shaun of the Dead. Yes, I have not seen Hot Fuzz. I know a lot of people give me shit for that, but I wasn't big on Shaun of the Dead. British humor, so I'm going to go back. I actually bought all 3 of them. The Coronado trilogy, is that what it's called? The coronavirus trilogy? I don't know. Which, hey, freaking rip to the release date of James Bond, right? Shit, they pushed that back to November because of the coronavirus. How crazy is that? I never heard anything like it. They've also got Firestorm in here from the Legends of Tomorrow television series on CW. That's one of his gang members there, which is kind of cool. Harry Treadway, is that how you say his name? His brother is in this. Which, of course, I know Harry from fucking lots of stuff. From Mr. Mercedes and from Penny Dreadful. And dude's had a huge career. And when I saw him in this, I was like, oh, hey, look, it's Harry. And I was like, oh no, he has a twin brother. He has an identical twin brother, and his identical twin brother hasn't done a whole lot. But my God, does he look exactly like him? It's crazy. Now, I'm not really understanding the function of these monsters, because there is like a first string monster that's hairless, and these gang members go, and beat the shit out of and kill. And this is, of course, what sends them into a frenzy, and they come back for revenge or whatever. Were they coming? Did they only come because that thing was killed? Was that like a scout? Or was that like the queen and now they're coming to protect it? But why would they send that first? Where did they come from? All that stuff. None of these questions are answered. Do they need answering? Not really, but it is interesting to ponder and question. But as I said, the functioning of these things, not only of why they're coming down, and they're finding all the people who've had interactions with anyone was responsible for this, because they're like passing the scent, or the I guess scent would be the proper term, on to the next person, to the next person, the next person. They're just like chasing people around, cleaning up shop. But yeah, the function also, in addition to that, is like their fur is jet black. So it's like they blend in with the night. They blend in with darkness so easily, which would make them very prolific and terrifying killers. But in addition to that, though, they have these like very obvious, very apparent glowing teeth. Like, it makes no sense. Aesthetically, it looks very cool, but just evolutionary, it doesn't make much sense. Like, I'm sitting there, they have super dark camouflage, but then they have these very obvious tells when it comes to their teeth. Like, they're just going to be able to be spotted from a mile away with these things. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I apologize. Jesus, 1:30 in the morning, and I just did a like 9-hour drive from California, and blah blah blah. I'm not going to bore you with all of that. I can't even write down the name of somebody who fucking donates money to my channel, so I don't deserve sleep or your pity. I guess they have different Miranda rights. I was listening to the Miranda rights they were reading in this movie, and they were totally different. I mean, how many times have you heard the Miranda rights? Could you recite the Miranda rights at this point, having seen as many movies? I don't know. I mean, I'm really kind of more asking myself if they're accurate. Now, I don't feel like every film does them in completion, because they usually make a joke out of it, or they start with the opening of it, or we hear the ending of it. I don't know. I probably could string it along well enough. Maybe if I wrote it down, but I'm not going to try. I'm just trying to curious on if you guys know the Miranda rights verbatim. And thought it was just kind of a little interesting side note here that they have different Miranda rights, like a structure to them, but they seem pretty damn similar. The use of bruv in this movie is used exorbitant amount of times. I don't know if it's like they're trying to say bruv with a V on the end, or they're trying to say bruh like we do, and they just overemphasize something and it adds a V sound. Like, are they attempting to say bruh and they're like bruv? I mean, but they sound like they're trying too hard, to the point where I'd be like, spell that for me, and they'd be like, it's BRUV. But yeah, so it's bruv. And holy shit, do they say it every 5 seconds. There's a scene where this kid, I wish I did have clips at times, because there's a scene where the kid has a baseball bat on his back, and it's like stuck behind his backpack or something, and he goes and he's about to go under this overpass that he's going under, and he just ducks. And then he comes out the other side and he's completely fine. But there's a bat sticking up from behind his back that once he squatted down, the bat would still stick up. And he missed the thing by like this much, but somehow the bat didn't catch there and throw his ass back and break his neck. I just thought that was absolutely asinine in the moment that it happened in the film. And as I said, I wish I did have a clip to show you here. But if you watch the film, watch the kid on the bike with the bat on his back. It makes zero sense. There's no fucking way. And it was just funny to me. I'm not shitting on the movie because of that. It just was like, okay, sure, why not? They don't want to handle everything in the block themselves because this is their territory, and they are very territorial about it, which a lot of gang members are. Usually, of course, to their detriment because they impoverish their area with their behavior, and yeah, they always want to handle everything themselves, so they don't want to call the feds, as they call them in this. I guess that's what they call the police department, like the federal officers. I don't know, the feds. Here, that's the FBI, but over there, I guess that's just the regular old police, or the bobbies. Isn't that what they call them? The cops there? I don't know. Maybe that's a different branch. Maybe the bobbies are like the guys that go around and give traffic tickets or go and corral. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. As usual, moving on. I like that one of them's carrying around a ninja sword. Always love to see a ninja sword, although I'm sure somebody will be like, oh, it's a samurai sword, or who knows. I don't know the fucking difference. I don't apologize. Fuck you. Whatever it is, I'm going to call it a ninja sword. Because he calls himself a ninja in the movie when he does something. He's like, oh, you're a ninja. So we're going with ninja sword. The gore in this is just not hard enough. There's some decent stuff, but nor near enough of gore in this film for a monster movie that's R-rated like this. They could have had more fun with that. The guy who plays Firestorm in Legends, and I don't know what the hell any of these guys' names are. I want to say I knew Moses' name, and then there's other ones. I can't remember what this guy's name is. Doesn't matter. Anyway, so he loses his head in this. So it's good to see a few of his fellow gang members die in this movie. And this was kind of unexpectedly, and it was kind of vicious, which I loved, of course. They use their fireworks in this movie like incendiary weapons, which I dig. It very much fits the tone and the aesthetic of children. I mean, essentially, these are children. Moses says that he's like 14 or 15 in the movie. 15, I think, is the age that he says he is. And I want to say that John Boyega is like 17 or something in this film. So he does look older than he says, and he looks older than he actually is. In real life. God damn it. I'm trying. I try so hard not to yawn. I'll like breathe deep, and then I'll be like, try to push it out, and I try to get around it. And with the one take thing, man, it's just like you're 20 minutes in, you're 15 minutes in, it's 1:30 in the morning. You're like, I can't start over. You're like trying to beat it so hard. I'm like, don't do it. Don't yawn. People hate when you yawn. It makes you seem like you're bored, or it makes them yawn as well, and then they blame you for it for some fucking reason. I don't know why yawning is so terrible. You ever wonder that? Like, people are like, oh man, don't do that. It'll make me yawn. Yawning doesn't make me tired. Like, I'm yawning because I'm tired, or I'm yawning because somebody else yawns. It doesn't make me tired because I yawn. You know what I mean? Like, you're either tired and you're yawning, or you see somebody yawn and then your brain... Yawn. That's such a weird word to me. Yawn doesn't seem like a complete word. It feels like that's like the shortened version of like Yannicka. And now I turned it into something Jewish. I don't know. Anyway, and Jerome dies. There's another one. Good stuff. They load a super soaker filled with gas and then light it on fire. That's a really good technique there. I did dig that. And the whole like Moses blames himself, and a part of the movie humanizes him and kind of pulls us back onto his side. They'd been kind of building this up throughout the movie, but this is where he actually starts to show some humility and some humanistic character, or human characteristic. There we go. I added the istic part to the wrong part of the phrase there. But human characteristic that distance himself from the monsters in the movie, because he kind of started off as a monster, and then real monsters came, and through that he kind of found his morality and became part of the human race again. It took a monster to cure a monster. Oh, it's almost so poetic. But that is what happens. They have no eyes, so they hunt by scent. That's nothing new. It's like A Quiet Place, except for with smell instead of sound. We don't know how well their hearing is in this, but their scent seems to be pretty damn strong. Moses is 15! Exclamation point. Yeah, he does look old. He's actually 18 in the film, which means he could even be 17 when they're filming the damn thing. So he does look considerably older than 15 to me, and even 18 in the film, but he is. I'm trying so hard not to yawn again. Oh my god, it's right there. It won't go away. And Moses draws them away with the monster in tow. He throws him on his back and he runs him through the building, and he does this. It reminds me of the scene in Feast 3, the happy finish, when they drive off with the feast creature behind them. The feaster. No, that wasn't an attempt that I should have made. You cannot sometimes combine words even though they sound like they're going to work. You should probably test them out in your head before you actually say them aloud, which I didn't do. Moving on. And at the end of this movie, he becomes a town legend. I mean, this is his place. It's the block, man. This is where he resides. This is his territory that he's trying to take over. And now, through his good deeds, he's rewarded by being remembered as a hero. Of course, he goes upstairs, and the old gas out of the gas grill freaking trick where he blows up the building, he throws himself out the window. And of course, people can always grab on to something, some little freaking railing or some cloth that they just hold on to. No problem. You know, the momentum of their body and the added weight from the velocity and all that. Fuck all that stuff. That don't matter. Okay? They got strong hands in these situations. It's a pretty by-the-numbers film. I mean, there's nothing really super unique about the film in a narrative way. The structure of the film, the pacing is solid, though. I will give the film that credit for sure. The pacing is solid, and the characters, I feel like, are what sell this movie. Also, the monsters are fairly unique, albeit not used effectively enough for me to where I would have liked them more. Of course, that having to do with the gore factor. I would have preferred this to be more grotesque and adult and R-rated in that way, but it wasn't. Maybe they thought that it would pull down the humorous aspects of it if they added a ton of gore into it, and also offset the childish characters in the film. Even though they're trying to act like adults, they are kind of more children, so maybe this is aimed at a younger audience, but it's R-rated. So I don't know, monster movies, I want to see gallons of blood and just gore gag after gore gag, but you sometimes can't get what you want. And with what I'm left here, I do like the movie. I don't love it. The jokes don't land for me, so that's a big issue. The story, as I said, is simplistic, so you got that as an issue as well. But the characters are strong. The monsters are cool. The music's pretty good. The film looks good. And it's got some fairly decent sequences. So, overall I like it. I don't love it, as I said. So, anyway, thank you to all my patrons. Even though I might not all remember your names at any given moment, that does not mean that I don't appreciate them. That does not mean that I don't, that I take this for granted. I don't. I really, really don't. I'd like to emphasize that. I love you guys for helping out. It does help. Where it's at right now, essentially it pays my car payment. So this channel is buying me a car at this point. I mean, my car's already almost paid off, and I've just started the Patreon not too long ago, so it's not really buying me the car, but it is helping with that bill. Do I wish I made more? Sure, but I'm so thankful for any dollar. If I was just making $1 from anybody, I would be so thankful to that person. So thank you. I know not writing your name down, it makes me look bad, but I just wanted to get your shit out faster, and as I said, it'll be in the description below. So thank you to everybody. Adios.